We're just all freshly back from the PCA Expo. And as our honorable past chair, I want to tell you what a great event it was. What did you think?
Yeah, it was an awesome event, and it's something you can look back at and say, quantitatively, it was, hit record numbers. And so we had just over 1,000 people there, and that's up from, mid 600s the year before, which was up from, the
Mhm.
400s the year before, which was, it was kind of at the bottom before that.
Yeah,
So quantitatively, had an amazing expo, but also just qualitatively, it just felt different. And you could feel the camaraderie, you could feel the ethos, you could feel the culture. And
mhm,
that's just a novel part that the PCA is able to bring is it's a nonprofit and there's a
yeah,
lot of servant leaders. And I think that ethos spreads through and creates a
right.
very cool feel for the event.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And I
great.
don't want to give you a swollen head, but all that, just like in any company, right? Jason, it comes from the top down. And I have to say, we've been a proud sponsor for probably 6 years now. Okay.
Yep. Thank you for
And
that.
high energy, you knock it out of the park with your educational programs that you have. And the peer groups, it's like drinking water from a fire hose. So who wouldn't want to be part of that? With our EstimateRocket customers, a lot of them feel alone and isolated. And I say there's no need to feel like that because you have so much support. And we push a lot of people to join the PCA. We feel that's extremely valuable for them. The venue where you had it at was sensational. Orlando, the Dolphin, who doesn't love that? And they can bring all their kids, and their kids can have a vacation while they're learning and experiencing something totally different. So we're huge proponents, and we could feel that the numbers were up this year. We were literally jam-packed from the moment the doors open until the guys were rolling up the carpets. So that happens to us all the time. The unions trying to get us out of the way so they can get their work done. So
Yeah.
we have to pack up quick and go out in the hall. But we felt it, and I think every sponsor and vendor there felt it as well. It was cool.
Yeah, it was high energy. And I was kind of surprised by how excited everybody was about the trade shows,
Yeah.
Yeah,
the big trades, because we did lunch right before it. And
Yeah.
yeah,
usually you kind of have to lure people in with lunch and put it at the back of the
yeah.
trade show place and say, well, if you want your lunch, you got to
Mhm.
walk past everybody's booth. But we did it before, and
Yeah.
then it was very sustained high energy for the entire time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
We were.
it
I, I won't mention the trade, but we went to another one where it was so bad the first day that they put a bar in the back of the trade show area.
Uh,
Yeah, so people
I
couldn't
don't
open for
remember
the
what that
second
one
day.
was
So
too. That was a
I
few
won't.
years
We won't.
back, but
yeah,
it
there's
was
something.
funny. And that's why, we have the ability, we're on the outside looking in, Jason. So we have the ability to, after all these years going to great association trade shows, to say, okay, who does a really good job at this? And I have to say, hands down, you guys do an exceptional job.
Yeah,
So,
it's such a special association, and I had the opportunity to build on the
Mhm.
shoulders of giants, as they say. And there
Right?
were those who were volunteer leaders before me, and
Yep.
it's fun to enter a little bit more in the background as the new kind of layer of leadership steps in, and you're still there to support, but you're letting them build up. So it's a fun little um, camaraderie that we have of a fraternity for those that get to serve in the
Oh,
PCA.
yeah. And even the new faces that I saw that are working at the PCA day in and day out to make that whole thing work. Well, the new faces, they were so delightful and no one knew who I was, but they were always cheery and helpful. And I thought, wow, they really do a great job at picking out good people to run this organization.
Yeah, it's
They
one of
do.
those things, kind of when you're describing how do you entice people to be engaged in a trade show?
Mhm.
For I think it's the third day that we do that. And
Right.
you can start to attack the symptoms with little band-aids, but how do you cure, the root illness? And how do you
Right.
establish a culture versus trying to do all these
Mhm.
one-off things that people will
Right.
throw at, here's how
Mhm.
I can mimic what this would feel like organically. And I think that, the classic example is you put the bar in the back, they'll draw people in,
Right.
trying to mimic what it would feel like to have a very engaged, 1,000-person group of painters
Sure.
that are excited to learn and
Mhm.
have low egos, right?
Yeah.
I think that's something that we've done well, kind of over the past 6 years since you've been involved.
Right.
Yeah. I
Right.
agree with
How
that,
do you-
actually.
How do you build an organic culture and ethos where you're not trying to mimic success, but instead it's just happening? It is
Right.
success. It is happening.
Sure.
Right, right. And one thing that we can touch on as well, and I didn't know this until after it was over with, but Nick Slavic was mentioning that you guys do a charitable event. And so you just mentioned that to me, that you're helping the community, and I'm all over it. I said to Nick, you have to involve us in that as well, because there's so many people that would like to donate and help for that. So, if we can figure something out so that next year we all know ahead of time, we can bring checks with us and we can really all help and donate to the cause.
100%. And this is the second year we tried doing that. And last year we did it the day before Expo, and this year we tried the day after Expo.
Okay.
And we kind of learned it doesn't really matter. Those that want to give are going to give.
Right.
Good attendance either way. We weren't quite sure what was going to happen, but it was such a special day and a special moment. We're able to give back to a group called Give Kids the World Village.
Wow.
And it's a place that provides an amazing week-long experience for children who are terminally ill and their entire family.
Wow.
And it was just, I think everyone that was involved was touched, and
Sure.
so that was something I had a joy of kind of playing wayfinder on this year.
Right.
Getting it to, well, it hasn't quite been established. It's not really an SOP for it, but someone
Right.
has to be that frontiersman and kind of
Yeah.
wayfind their way
Mhm.
west into the new land. And I was happy to play that point person this year, but looking forward to next year. It's going to be even better.
Right. And even if you guys put up a link somewhere to say, hey, if you want to donate to this, this is the organization that we've chosen to work with. If you want to donate to them, we would be happy to get involved in that. So
Yeah, I
please.
think our members and our vendor partners, the ethos of the PCA it's
Yeah.
made up of the people, and EstimateRocket, you guys are no exception to that. So that doesn't
Well,
surprise me.
thank you. We do that on a regular basis. So, we feel that that's part of building a community is you treat your people well, they treat your customers well, and then we all are successful and we treat our communities well. And that's what we love doing at EstimateRocket anyways.
Yeah, I love this conversation. It wasn't what we like the topic we were originally going to talk on, but I get so excited about these things where there's this phrase called chop wood, carry water. And it's
Okay.
this kind of principle of you are what you do day in and day out, the small day-to-day mundane things. And
Yeah.
how do you build a company like EstimateRocket? How do you build an association like PCA? How do you build a life as an individual where you are what you want to achieve? You're not trying to mimic what it could look like. And it's
Right.
those day-to-day things that we, those decisions, the thoughts, the actions in our personal lives as an organization or as an association that ultimately determine what we become. And so that's like a life philosophy that's interesting to talk through.
Well,
Actually, it calls up one of our core values, which is enjoy the ride. And it's about, every day is not going to be fun. Every day is not going to be the best day you've ever had. But overall, you should look forward to getting up every morning and going and do what you've chosen to do as your life's practice. And I think that's a
I
really
don't want to
important
get
thing.
all sappy right now, and I don't want to cry, but we have our company's mission, right? We're a software company. What's our mission? Our mission is to write something extraordinary and support it at an extraordinary level. But that's not the goal. The goal is to have our contractors making so much money that they can treat their fabulously. They can go on vacations. They can send them to private schools if they choose to. They can treat their team members wonderfully. And then that has a whole ecosystem to it. And then they can donate to their communities. So when you want your customers to thrive, it has legs to it and it spreads throughout the world. So that's really why we do what we do.
I love it.
Ideally, you're building a legacy, not a company.
Right. Right.
Yep. Enjoy the ride.